I mentioned earlier that Father's Day is just around the corner, but so is International Rosé Day. So it is only fitting to do a rosé lesson with our sommelier, Renée Sferrazza. Renée, first of all, this is gorgeous. Like, I love this whole table. I love rosé. I love the taste. I love how it looks. Tell us a little bit about this gorgeous style of wine.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so excited about International Rosé Day. It's one of my favorite wine holidays. Yeah. And rosé, you know, kicks off the summer.
Totally.
But rosé is really fun. It kind of straddles the boundaries between red and white wine. And today we're kind of going to dive into the whole world of rosé. We have wines to taste, pairings to try, a little bit of rosé history,
yes.
And we're going to be going through in the glass with wines from Ontario, Spain, and France, all of which can be found across Canada in liquor board stores, which is pretty fun.
That is very fun, and I love that all of our viewers can access it. So what is the first type of rosé that we are going to try?
Yeah, so we're first going to start off in Ontario. So rosé is really interesting. It has a history about it. Mm-hmm. This is the Southbrook Triomphe Cabernet Franc Rosé. It's 100% organic as well. You can give it a little bit of a try. I'll tell you a bit more about it. So rosé is really quite interesting because it gets its color from the skins of grape. Once the grape juice comes in contact with the skins, it creates that color. A lot of people really think that this darker colored 100% Cabernet Franc Rosé would be sweet, but you've tried it. It's really not sweet, right?
It's not sweet, it's not bitter, but it's perfect. And it's slightly chilled. Should you be having your rosé, it needs to be chilled, right?
You can do it even more chilled. For the sparkling, I would do it the most chilled, and for the one in the middle as well chilled. But doing the Cabernet Franc Rosé by Southbrook, you could do it on the edge. The reason why people often think that it's a sweeter style because of the color is just because of that color recognition. But it's on its way to becoming more like a red wine with that extra coloring. So you don't have to chill it as much. It has a lot more structure to it.
Yes.
And that's really the fun thing about doing this darker color rosé.
Interesting that we see dark and we think sweet, and it's not necessarily, we think, oh, it's all full of berries. It's not necessarily like that. It's closer to red wine.
Exactly.
And you have paired it with something.
I have. We're going like with like for the pairing. So we have a Canadian aged cheddar to pair with our Canadian wine. And this is a stronger style of rosé, a little bit more structure in it. It can go with a more structured style of cheese to pair with it as well.
That's really good. So strong and strong.
Yeah, we want to add some structure with something with some structure as well.
I like that you call it structure.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good. Like you're wearing like a good band around your body, right?
Exactly.
Okay, you mentioned rosé can be made with both white and red wine grapes.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening here?
It's exactly what's happening in the Muga Rosé. This is a Rioja Rosé, and it's pretty iconic as well. So the first red and white wine grapes, yes, please give it a taste, were actually done by the Greeks and the Romans. They would do these really quick pressings, and it would result in a rosé-colored wine. This wine is a blend of Grenache and Viura. It actually only has 5 hours of skin contact, and you can see just how little bit of hours of skin contact make a rosé. But isn't that a fun wine?
It's very light.
Yes.
Like it feels very light, fresh, crisp, like beautiful on a hot sunny day.
It is, and that's the best part of both worlds with the Grenache and the Viura, bringing those citrus notes, that liveliness. And even for our pairing, we went local with this one because we wanted to bring out the more acidity and the minerality. We have a Rocinante, which is a goat's cheese from Spain. Might as well get into it. And it is a wine-washed rind cheese, which really kind of goes with the wine-forward life we're living today for International Rosé Day.
Beautiful. I've had this before, and it's amazing.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites as well.
Shall we get into bubbles?
Of course.
I'm a fan.
I couldn't do a rosé conversation without bubbles. It's also one of my favorite wine styles as well. And for it, we have a Cremant de Loire by De Champcenny. This is their Brut Rosé. Cremant, you can find them around all of France, and they're actually called the approachable cousin to champagne.
Okay.
Made in the exact same style. The bubbles are made inside the bottle, which creates that second fermentation.
Nice.
But Cremant is a little easier on the pocket, which is why we like this one as well.
Okay.
So give it a taste. The De Champcenny Cremant de Loire is a blend of Cabernet Franc and Grolot grapes that are really found within the region. And you get this really fun persistence of bubbles, pastry notes, lots of berry vibes in there. And
oh my gosh, I love your adjectives. It is the persistence. Like there's something about it that really takes up space, right?
Yeah,
it's
for
lovely.
sure.
It's got a presence.
Exactly, and that's why we want to pair this wine with a cheese that has some presence as well.
Okay.
So we have a wonderful brie cheese here.
I'll do it without the crackers, so don't down the whole thing again. Let me just take a little nibble, all like, you know, like a lady.
Exactly.
So creamy cheeses.
and it goes great with that persistence. Actually, take a sip right after, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Well, okay.
I'll even join you. You see, it
Very
cleans out
good,
your
Renee.
palate perfectly.
Oh, and that's what's happening. Yeah. So that's what you look for when you're doing pairings. Go through sort of why you paired these cheeses with these wines.
Exactly. So I would happily do that. We have all the cheeses going with the wines. I wanted to pair like with like, regional with regional, but at the
Yeah.
same time, creamy is really being combated by the consistency of the persistence of this wine.
Absolutely.
We're going with something a little bit more acidic. We match it with the acidity in the food itself.
Got it.
And for the wine with the most structure, we have a structured item as well. We're matching like with like across regions and across styles. That's why we have these wonderful rosés in this academic drinking format.
Very cool. I like academic drinking. Do you? Renee, thank you so much. Love this lesson always.